Hey guys, welcome back to the third episode of KBTalk. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Karen.
And we're super excited to announce this episode.
Growing Up Too Fast.
Growing Up Too Fast. This is where we're going to talk about where and how we got here, sort of. Just a little bit more background. And I'll start off. For those that don't know, when I was 18, I was regrettably kicked out of my house. Like I said in the first or second episode, that I grew up in a very conservative Christian household. Mm-hmm. I was given an ultimatum at one point that I needed to live a life of God and forget my worldly
lifestyle.
Lifestyle. So I made the choice of leaving. The next day, I grabbed a few of my things that I could fit in a bag, and I was out. I left. Remember?
Yep, I remember.
Oh, boy. But, luckily I went to go live with my best friend, Jose. His family took me in, Ricardo and Jacqueline. They're like another set of parents that I have.
They're the best.
I love them to death. They're the sweetest people. Always welcoming. Whenever we need to travel or anything with our dogs, they're like, "Oh yeah, just come over here and bring your dogs."
Yeah, it's always so fun to be around them. Like, we can talk for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
And we just never get bored. So
yeah, they're older, but they also live a party life.
Oh my God.
They party more than we do, and
they really do. And I love them for that. They all they do is just travel and host parties at their house.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, we love them.
But after I moved, while I moved there, I wasn't an electrician. I was an apprentice. I was an R1, as they called it. I was learning. A friend of my mother's that took me into this company, and it was fun at first until
it was too risky for me.
It was because it was commercial, wasn't residential. So I was working on higher voltage things. I remember that time that it was like a flashbang. I was working on this panel, just screwing it in, and boop.
Yeah, I remember. And it was ever since I'm like, nope.
A little scary.
You need to find something else.
A little more safe.
Yes.
But during that job, I unfortunately lost it due to Jose, because we were out hiking one time, or walking out a trail. Great Falls, for those that know. There's a parking lot that has those directional parking, so that whenever you back out, you only go one way. And he was learning how to drive. He wasn't full experienced yet. And he was backing out and trying to go the opposite way. And I was standing right there talking to him with the window open. And I even said, "Stop, what are you doing?" And he pinned my foot or my ankle in between the two cars.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, she wasn't here, unfortunately.
I was not present, yeah.
She wasn't present when that happened, or else this probably wouldn't have happened. But I tried to go back to work. I was in crutches, and I couldn't. Like, there was no way I was going to be able to work, and unfortunately, I got let go. But now I think about it, they shouldn't have let me. Isn't that illegal or something?
Well, babe, how legal was that job?
It was a legal job. I had W-4 and everything. Or W-2. Yeah.
Well,
It wasn't like the next job.
It was not meant to be. So
I learned.
Yeah, but I did not like that job for you. It was very, very risky, and you already almost died. So I was not very upset when you had to when you were let go. I think it was the best decision that they could have made for you.
Yeah, but after that, I got a job thanks to another friend, Eli. He got me a job with an entertainment company where I would set up parties and events. And they paid good, so I saved up some money. Sorry, saved up some money, and I bought a car. Well, saved some money. You also helped me, thankfully. Super grateful. And I was able to buy my very first like car on my own that was financed and everything. If I look back now, I probably didn't try to negotiate at all. I was just like, yeah, I'll take it.
Well, it was more a need than a luxury.
Yeah, I was
you
also
can say.
young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, because I remember I was looking at other cars that I really wanted, but ended up with a Scion TC Rex.
It was a good car.
It was
I liked
small
it.
but spacious.
Yeah, I liked it.
I remember Artavius could fit in the back.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5", and he fit perfect. He was, yep, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that was a good car.
So I decided to then, move to my dad's house. I felt kind of bad. I was living with Jose's parents, and I wasn't paying anything. They were, they never charged me a dime because they wanted me to get back on my feet. And so I made the choice. I was like, I'll go live with my father. My father didn't know that I got kicked out, basically, for the first, I don't know how many days or weeks of me living there. My father and I have a good relationship,
but complicated.
But complicated. We if one or the other doesn't call each other, we just don't call. But that's how I kind of am. I guess I'm kind of like him. If it wasn't because my mother calls me or my grandmother calls me every other day or every day, I probably wouldn't call him either. But I love him. I love you, Mom. Love you, Grandma. That job was good. Long weekends, 4-day weekends. Sometimes I think the longest shift I had was a 28-hour shift or something. And I ended up, unfortunately, losing that job as well. I helped out someone that needed a job, and they were willing to pay, cash. So he was being paid less than me, and I was out.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but it wasn't the right thing to do.
Right, as a bro,
Yeah.
because that's what we were. It was unfortunate, but hey, like giving you whatever that saying is, you learn and you live, giving you get, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
Nothing.
I don't remember. I lost my train of thought. But I had to move then to Grandma's house because my grandmother's house, she lived closer to the city.
Mm-hmm.
She lived in Rockville, and it was easier because then Artavius was able to find me a job at the barbecue restaurant that he had.
Well, you were also just closer to everything, so it was just the right choice.
Exactly.
Just to everything in general.
Mm-hmm. And, from there, I was able to get a job at T-Mobile as well, part-time, because to this day, I'm always a tech junkie, and I always want the latest phone, and I would do the same thing when I was working. That's where my money went, to my phone bill, because I had like everything and every new phone.
Yeah.
And then I remember that's how they offered me the job. The manager just saw the way I talked to people and how I talked to him, and he was like, "Do you want to work here?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Come in for an interview." Like, I think it was like on Monday. He's like, "Come on Monday, and I'll interview you." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." Came in and I got the job, and I was saved up and got a bike.
Mm-hmm.
My Diamondback bike that I bought at Sporting Goods that no longer exists now, went out of business. But that was it did. I went everywhere with that bike.
That was a good bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you were working 2 jobs at that time.
Yes.
So you still had the restaurant and you were also still working for T-Mobile.
Yes. So I was gone for most of the day. I'd leave early, go in at either the restaurant or T-Mobile, whatever shift. They always were accommodating to one or the other, whichever they needed. So I was gone in the morning and I wasn't back till late night because I also, to this day, I go to the gym at least 5 days a week. And back then I would do it at night. So thankfully my grandmother left me food out or in the refrigerator because she always had food. And a friend of mine one day texted me and said that she had a dog or a friend that was getting rid of some dogs. And that's how we got Boxer.
That's how you got Boxer.
I say we because we're married now.
But you made the decision to get
I
Boxer.
I
It
made
was
the
not
decision to get
my
Boxer.
decision.
Okay, I made the decision, but I texted you about it too, and you told me maybe. You didn't send me a hard no,
But that was not a yes.
but it wasn't a no.
Okay.
Anyways, I had to, come up with a lie because my grandmother does not like pets like that, like as much as we do. Like they are kids, as you guys know. She just sees them as an accessory, right? Would you call it an accessory?
No, she does not like animals.
Okay, she doesn't like animals.
She just doesn't because she's
Old
part
fashioned.
of she's part of that generation where technically animals had a job. If your animal did not have a job, then what was the point of having it?
Right.
So
right.
yeah, I wouldn't say she loves animals. Like we love animals.
She tolerates them.
Yeah, she tolerates them because now is not her saying whether we have animals or not.
Right. But during that time, I was working 2 jobs until eventually, I ended up taking a full-time job at T-Mobile because I was making a lot more money. But I had to leave Boxer at home in the kennel, and like I guess it kind of scarred him because even down to this day, he hates staying in the kennel.
Well, yeah, you weren't very good at socializing him or being with him during the time where he was growing up and they learned the most. So
But that didn't last that long.
it didn't.
No. I remember. So what actually happened was, my grandma never kicked me out, but I didn't want Boxer to stay like that, and she kept giving me pushback and using him against me. So that's why I decided to leave, and I actually stayed with Jose again for a little bit before I told you, hey, I want to move down.
Yeah, you just called me, and at that time I was living with my sister, technically renting a house, and I was like, okay, yeah, you can come be here. I had my dog, my sister had her dog, and her dog, who we love so much, but he's no longer with us.
All right,
I mean, we loved him so much, but he was a difficult dog, so it was gonna be a lot. But then, like, yeah, just come, we'll figure it out. And I think within the next few days, you just gather all of your stuff, which was not much, and your friend just helped you move 500 miles south.
Drove. I even drove, and I didn't have a license.
Yeah, but I mean that happened, and you transferred jobs. So I remember you did transfer jobs.
I kept T-Mobile.
So we were like okay until we weren't okay.
Yeah, I think I lasted there like a month because they were doing some sketchy stuff there, and I guess I found out, and I don't know if I said something or I wasn't supposed to find out. I got the blame.
Yeah.
And the manager, I think the territory manager or something, called me and was like, "Don't come back to work."
It was so stupid.
Wasn't even a proper like, come in, let's talk about this. It was just like, don't come back to work.
Yeah, and ever since we really don't trust T-Mobile. But yeah, I mean, after that whole situation with that job, you didn't really have a job, and I was going to college full time, and I got to a point where I got 3 jobs.
3 part-time jobs.
I got 3 part-time jobs while going to school full time. But I wasn't making a lot of money, but we were making enough money to get by.
Yeah.
So things got a little bit complicated within the first 6 months, I will say, that that you moved down here and we started living together. So
I was the housewife.
You were. Did not.
Well,
you
helped,
did okay.
It helped that I saved enough money at that point to help get a Sadie, which was your very first car.
Yes. We needed a car because I had no car. He had no car. We didn't have anything.
I lost Rex.
It was a very complicated time of our lives. Like, it was very much on our own. Like, we were on our own. We didn't really...
No help from parents. Nothing.
Yeah, we didn't from anyone really like that. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, things could have been a lot harder for us, but they weren't. I wouldn't say they were easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got our first car together, which we used that car to get everywhere. It was actually one of my favorite cars that I've
Great on
had.
gas, little buggy looking thing.
Yeah,
A
it
Scion
was,
I am. If you guys see them, they turned into the Toyota Corolla for a little bit, and
yeah, it was a
it's
good
great.
car. I enjoyed it, but still, like our living situation was not ideal. We were
Mm-mm.
living at a house. We were renting a room technically, and things just got so messy. Things just kept getting worse and worse and worse as time progressed, and they got to a point where, um, like it just was not a good idea to stay there. But hopefully, when like what really helped us a lot is that you ended up getting a job at AT&T. It took a few months for you to start, but it helped. So
Right. Well,
you
thanks to you also, because I was very bad at filling out job applications.
you really were, yeah. I mean, I
So
made you fill out a whole bunch of applications every day, if not filling them
yeah.
out for you.
hmm I think AT&T was actually one of the ones that you filled out because I didn't know. You just told me like, oh, you have an interview at AT&T. Like you got an email. I was like, oh, okay, sweet. What did you put so I know what to say? Like,
I know. Well, you're welcome.
but it worked out because I went in for the personal interview and I got the job.
Yeah, I mean, you're great at it. But yeah, I remember that. So you stayed at AT&T. I had different jobs here and there, all retail jobs, so nothing really important. And
Fun jobs.
they were okay.
Spencer's was fun.
They were okay. I wouldn't say retail is
No.
fun, period. But I mean, I was a full time college student, so it's not like I could have really had the time to get a better job. But I was also trying to figure out what I wanted to do at that time. So besides working and going to school, I started volunteering at the animal shelter. So volunteering at the animal shelter was a whole experience on its own. Like it consumed my life so much, but I'm glad I did it. I mean, it was rewarding, but
I
it
think
was
it
really sad.
prepared you for what you do now, and
Yeah, and that was my goal.
it developed that thick skin.
Yeah, that was my goal. I've always wanted to work with animals, but I never really looked into it and like really got like to pinpoint what aspect of animals I wanted to work with, if that makes sense. So I got into just volunteering. I was like, can I do this? Can I work with animals? Do I have what it takes? And it sucked. It was a rough time, but I made like the best out of it. I mean,
I tried it for a little bit.
yeah,
And
you got to
but I couldn't.
volunteer with me for a little bit. It was rough.
It was rough. Yeah.
And while I was volunteering, I mean, I was applying at jobs to work at animal hospitals and got who knows how many applications I filled out.
Oh, tons.
But finally got a call from one of them, and
One of the best ones in the area at the time.
yeah, I mean it was my time there was great. I learned a lot, but I got this job. It was great. Like I was looking forward to it, and then we get hit with, oh, you need to leave this house within the next week or so.
Luckily, we had at least established some good jobs before it happened, but it was almost like from one day to another, just, hey, you have a week.
Yeah, I mean, we were not prepared whatsoever.
Oh.
We had 2 dogs, and my biggest fear was I can't go anywhere without my dogs. So we had to figure out how to make sure that we were able to still keep our dogs, which we figured it out. We made it happen, but it sucked. It sucked going through that whole process. So we started looking at apartments, and
landed
we didn't really have that many options. So
based on what we were making in our budget.
Yeah, and also like we only had one car. How are we gonna manage the whole transportation situation? But we found a place which I loved our first apartment. I mean, it really not only humbled us, not like we needed to be more humble, but
it made us appreciate a lot more. It was in the ghetto.
but it was a nice apartment. I mean, we had our space, and it was the first time that it was just you and I and our kids.
Yeah.
And we loved it. But yes, it was a very interesting area to live in, and I mean, I don't think I will go back to living in that area today at all.
No.
But it was our first apartment. I mean, it wasn't under the right circumstances, but we made it work. We found it. We needed some help. And
it was rough. Yeah.
Yeah, luckily your family was able to help. Mom was able to help.
Yeah, we had enough for like the first month, but we were living paycheck to paycheck, so that was like, that's after that we were gonna have little to nothing left. I remember, so I think my mom helped me with the
Yeah.
deposit, and thank you, mom. But it again, it was I even though we struggled on that and we continued to have like these dips in our life as we were going,
Mm-hmm.
I kept that positive attitude. I
Oh
remember just
yeah.
stressing out.
Oh yeah. I mean, I will cry so much all the time. Like
Like, what are we gonna do?
yeah, had no idea what was waiting for us, or if anything was really waiting for us, and it sucked. And especially going through something like that alone, which yes, people do it. I'm not gonna say I'm like the only one that has experience, unfortunately, becoming independent with little to no help. But yeah, people do it all the time. But still, is not ideal. It sucks. Like, unfortunately, especially in the Latin household, you're gonna get either you're gonna have like parents that are gonna be supportive and never gonna want to let you go and constantly support you and really just lift you up, or you're gonna get those parents that are like, okay, you owe me now, you're an
Right.
adult, so either you start working and paying me stuff because you owe me. I did all of this for you. I brought you into this world. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but last time I checked, I didn't ask to be born,
Right.
or I didn't ask to live a shitty life. So it's like I had no support whatsoever. I had no one to be like, oh, I need help, or I like anyone really. No friends, no nothing. So
You didn't have that role model either.
yeah, so it was a lot on me, and it was a lot on you too, because you had to just help me
Right.
kind of come out of that sinkhole, because it's pretty discouraging to think about it. Like, wow, like I could have never done this on my own. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, if it wasn't because it was you and I together doing it, I could have never done it. I would have never done it, and who knows what I would be now today.
I feel the same way. If it wasn't because of you, I don't know where I'd be either.
Yeah, but at the end, I mean, your family supports a little bit more
Yeah.
with their flaws and all at that time, but they supported us a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, we ended up finding this apartment. We made things work as much as we could. We made it our home. We didn't have any furniture.
No. We moved in with my bed that I brought from Maryland.
Which we were just sleeping on the mattress. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't even
We
have
didn't
the
have the
bed
whole
frame.
Yeah, we didn't have the whole frame. We just had the mattress. and then this, like, we started buying stuff off Facebook Marketplace, I think.
Yes.
Yep. It was like a microwave for like $10 because that place did not come with a microwave.
Oh my God.
Which the kitchen was the tiniest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's like not even half the size of this room.
Yep.
It was really small. But yeah, we had nothing. We had no sofa. We had nothing.
Nope.
So we ended up getting like this dumb purchases through Facebook Market, enough for us to at least have a sofa. Like, or I wouldn't even call it a sofa. It was more like a sitting area. But
the sofa had no cushion. Like, you'd sit and
it was bad.
Sink straight in.
It was bad. But yeah, I mean, we did what we had to do. We work hard. We stay, together, and
we slowly raised. I mean, I went from
we made it happen.
From a standard sales rep, which I'm also thankful for my friend and boss at the time who helped me kind of just focus.
We got to meet a lot of great people in our lives. People that, first off, were not family. I mean, your family being far away,
right?
And your friends, really everyone. We got to a point where it was just us two. We were alone, and luckily, we get to meet really, really great coworkers and friends. And even until this day, they're part of our lives, and we're part of their lives. And we really hit the jackpot on that. And we appreciate it, because, I mean, there's no way without any help from the world and the friends, we could have not been here. But mainly, I mean, we put the hard work in. So I wasn't
like, because we were in our early 20s.
Yes.
And we were so focused on getting life right that we didn't, I guess, party, drink.
We didn't enjoy it. We
We didn't
not
enjoy
like
the youth.
yes.
We're 27. People still say we're young, but we're like all of our friend groups and people are older than us.
Yeah, it's
We
hard
don't-
to relate to someone like our age. Like where most people in their early 20s, what they will be doing will be partying and,
Staying up
still,
late.
yeah, still living with their parents, not really thinking about like the real world and, oh, I have to adult today. Like, yeah, like that's fun and all, but that's not where we were. We were trying to pay the bills. We were trying to make sure our dogs were okay, make sure we were okay. We were like not homeless and we had a job. Like things got very hard very
Things
quickly.
got really real, really quick.
Yes,
Yeah.
really real. And we were not prepared for it whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
I mean, at the end, I think you were more prepared, or at least you knew more
I
about
knew
being an
how
adult
to, yes.
more than I did. Like, I had no guidance, absolutely nothing. Did not know where to start, where to go next. I had no idea what I was doing. And you really did help a lot with that. Like, you fill in the gaps. And I kind of help in my own way.
Yeah, no. Because you helped me, even though I knew these things, I sometimes could be extra for those that know me. So
You can just be over the top.
over the top. So you kept me leveled,
Yeah.
Versus me going on my own and trying to do more than I needed to.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, boundaries are important. I was
Right.
able to help us set boundaries, not just, personal boundaries, financial boundaries, but just in general. Like, we couldn't have let people around us just get to us because
Right.
we had a lot of that, especially on my side.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have any support whatsoever, but that support became the opposite of support. Like people that were around me were doing the opposite of what I needed. And it was like very discouraging. And, we both learned, I'm like, we don't need that. We don't need that
No.
in our lives. And
We're
it's
better
like,
off on our own.
it's like we were lonely at one point. We're going to continue to get lonely. And if some people don't fit our lifestyle, they just don't. So that's just
We still
pretty
love
much.
you, some of you.
But yeah, like we just had to grow up and not be sucked into wanting to be young, and not that we had that option.
Right.
So yeah, growing up was not fun. And although we were considered adults, come on, let's be honest, who is really ready to see the world after they turn 18?
It's tough, I mean, for example, my brother, for example, he still lives at home, but he gets nervous whenever I tell him, like, oh, have you thought about this and this bill and moving on your own? And he gets a little nervous because he's like, what? Like everything is just like a shock.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
It's and and then we're growing up in an era where it's getting harder, compared to when our parents. That's why when all these people and older folks say, "Oh, when I was your age, I owned a house and blah blah blah," I'm like, yeah, well,
I have 7 children and they were all working at the farm.
it was easier.
Ridiculous.
People were getting approved for these loans also without any consideration. Versus now, it's like you get approved for a certain loan, you got to like have everything to the T.
It's a lot harder.
It's harder.
It's a lot harder.
Life is expensive.
Yeah, I feel like the cost of living is going up without wages matching it. In general, like life sucks. Our generation and the younger generations are not able to catch up. And I don't care if people call us lazy or we just, we just don't want to really put in the hard work and the hours. Like, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth doing all this extra work and not worth putting all these extra hours because we're not going to get where we want to get. So it's just tough. It's tough out there and it's getting tougher every year. And hopefully, I mean, we'll continue to upgrade as time goes, but it's hard. It's hard to really say. But yeah, I mean, ever since you moved down here, we've had to figure it out. We always figure it out together.
Slowly upgrading. I mean, going back to our second apartment, Barrington Place. You remember?
Yes, this is our third apartment that we lived in. And every time we moved, you can say we've gone from, a good place to a better place. But every place has their hiccups.
Yeah, it does. But it's it's just growing up in life. Our next chapter, our next level, or next upgrade. We're hoping that it's a house.
Yeah. And mostly for our kids because they deserve to have a yard.
That's really why I like the apartment living, because you don't have to worry about things. But we got kids and we need a yard.
And we work so hard to make sure they stay with us throughout all of our life changes and our ups and downs. And I feel like they have been a huge part of us not letting life sink us.
Yeah, it's also part of that growing up faster because we had this living creature to take care of.
And we love them, and we are committed. And a lot of people don't seem to have the same feelings toward their pets, but they depend on us as much as we depend on them. Like, I feel like our dogs, all of our babies really got us through some really dark times that maybe we as like life partners, we weren't able to compensate for that, and we weren't able to fill that void. So our animals mean a lot to us, and for them, we're going to continue to upgrade and to hopefully do better. And just also for us, the life goal that we have for each other is at the end just to be the best version of ourselves. But yeah, although we got to do it mostly alone, we still got to do it.
We did it with each other. And that's again why I feel like we did it. We've come this far. You've helped me out a lot, and I've helped you out a lot. We grew up together.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see where we go from here.
Yeah, so I just want to, again, say thank you to everyone that has tuned in the past, that has continued to tune into our show. And as we slowly, right now, these first couple episodes are going to be just about us, and then we'll get off onto other topics.
Yeah, so thank you for listening to our shenanigans and just our life experiences and thoughts and just, I don't know, bullshit, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you next week, where we're gonna call it Dink.
Yes. So for those that don't know what DINK means, is double income, no kids.
Yeah. A lot of friends ask us how we do these things or how we go on vacation so much. I'm like, well, we're a DINK, double income, no kid household.
So at least we try. We have our own version of kids. But yeah, so if you want to know more about that and for us to share our thoughts about that, then just stay tuned for next week's episode.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys. Like, follow, share, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.